Welcome back, focused learners. I am so excited for today's Masterclass explainer. Today we're tackling something we literally all do every single day, yet honestly, so few of us have truly mastered it. We're diving into communication, the art of convincing. The goal for our time together is to elevate your everyday interactions into highly impactful, persuasive encounters. We're going to break down exactly how you can stop just talking and start genuinely convincing.
Okay, so we really need to start by completely redefining what communication actually is. Look at this. Communication is defined as a strategic activity aimed at achieving consensus, alignment, and agreement, rather than merely exchanging words. It's not just about, sharing a language. A shared language gets you understood, sure, but understanding doesn't automatically mean you've persuaded anyone. True success, that's about influencing thoughts. It's about gaining that consensus and agreement with your ideas. Basically, if you aren't getting alignment, you aren't fully communicating.
So to keep this from getting overwhelming, let's just take a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with step 1, the foundation. Then move into 2, physical and visual presence. Next, we'll explore 3, strategy, data, and timing. And finally, wrap up with 4, empathy and adaptability. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the foundation, words, voice, and silence. So tool number 1 is language. And I want you to notice the stark contrast here between these two statements. On the left, we've got, the market is demonstrating signs of a negative trend. On the right, simply, the market is declining. Now, which one of those hits harder? The right one? Absolutely. Clear, simple language is always more convincing than some vague corporate jargon. Just because we speak the same language doesn't guarantee you'll persuade anyone, right? Your choice of words is literally everything. To actually make your language a tool of persuasion, it needs to stand on 4 main pillars. First up, it's got to be clear. Keep it simple. Second, specific. So don't just say the results were good, say sales increased by 20%. Third, make it relatable. You want to adapt to your audience using idioms they actually use in real life, like saying something costs an arm and a leg. And fourth, it needs to be appealing. It should provoke thought. Skilled communicators love using rhetorical devices, like metaphors, to make messages stick. Saying something is just the tip of the iceberg perfectly paints that picture in someone's mind. Well, that brings us to tool number 2, paralanguage. This is all about how you say it. And honestly, this often carries way more weight than the actual words you're using. Let me give you a quick example. If I use a calm, steady, assertive tone, I sound so much more convincing than if I'm, hesitant. If I raise my pitch a bit, I can express excitement and really grab your attention. But if I drop my volume down to a near whisper, it suddenly feels like what I'm saying is super serious, maybe even confidential. And then there's pace. I can speed up to keep the energy high through the details, but if I slow down, you know for sure I'm making a critical point. And right there, that deliberate silence, that is tool 5. Effective use of pause and silence. Actually, I skipped ahead a number just to group our vocal tools together for you. But think about it. Strategic pauses allow you, the listener, a moment to actually absorb the information. It adds this great dramatic effect. When you use it right, silence literally compels the listener to reflect and internalize whatever you just said. Pausing right before a big point highlights its importance, and staying silent after a question, it shows you're actually being thoughtful. Moving on to section 2, physical and visual presence, going beyond the words. Okay, tool 3 is body language. This is such a potent nonverbal tool. Just think about posture for a second. A sales rep standing tall while presenting a product instantly signals confidence and authority, right? While slouching just completely undermines all of that. Eye contact is absolutely vital too. Imagine a manager maintaining steady eye contact during a performance review. It conveys honesty and genuine engagement. Also, your facial expressions have to match your tone. Nodding along when a client shares a concern shows real empathy. Oh, and proximity matters too. Moving closer creates a sense of intimacy, while keeping your distance signals authority. Building right off of that, tool 4 encompasses broader nonverbal communication. You'll notice how purposeful hand gestures, like a lecturer outlining steps in the air, actually help clarify complex ideas for people. The way you use physical space is a huge silent persuader as well. Standing behind a podium, that conveys formal professionalism, but stepping out from behind it, that breaks the barrier and creates closeness. And please don't forget appearance. Something as simple as wearing a suit for a business presentation instantly signals your commitment, increasing your chances of persuading them before you even say a single word. Now this perfectly illustrates Tool 8, use of objects and visual aids. See what I did there? I'm literally using a visual aid right now to explain visual aids. The truth is, sometimes abstract ideas absolutely need tangible props or slides to be digested quickly. If I just stood here and verbally listed off the market share of 5 different companies, you would totally tune out. But displaying a clean, well-designed donut chart, it makes complex data instantly understandable and, honestly, significantly more convincing. All right, let's dive into Section 3, Strategy, focusing on data and timing. So, Tool 6 is the use of data and precise details. Look, if you're in an academic, professional, or technical setting, data is what makes your arguments undeniable. But there are rules here. First, it has to be accurate. Using verified, up-to-date information like government stats massively boosts your credibility. Second, it has to be relevant, like highlighting the specific 20% Q4 sales jump we're looking at right here during a pitch. And just like we talked about with visual aids, presenting this kind of precise data through a clear chart makes your argument incredibly tough to beat.
But here's the thing. All that amazing data is totally useless without Tool 7, which is timing. A well-timed message perfectly aligns with your audience's readiness to actually listen. Step 1, you've got to sense the room's mood. If you need to have a difficult conversation, waiting until the other person is calm drastically increases your chances of getting agreement. Step 2, adapt to situational dynamics. For example, if you've got a brand new proposal, introducing the actual ask only after you've spent time discussing its benefits creates this really natural, persuasive flow.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Empathy and Audience Adaptability.
Tool 9 is empathy and relatability. This is all about how you align your message with the audience's core values. It requires active listening, meaning you're responding to both verbal and nonverbal cues. If you're talking and you see someone looking a bit concerned, you nod, you acknowledge it, and you adjust. It shows you genuinely value their opinion. It also means using relatable examples. If you're teaching some highly theoretical concept in a classroom, sharing an everyday scenario that resonates with the student's real-life experiences makes that concept infinitely easier to grasp.
And our final tool, Tool 10, is adaptability. Guys, this is the absolute hallmark of a master communicator. You must be able to read the room. If you're observing reactions and you notice your audience is looking confused, you can't just put your head down and keep reading your script. No way. You have to respond flexibly. You modify your language, your tone, or your delivery style right there on the fly. If you realize you're talking to non-experts, you immediately simplify your terms to salvage that connection and keep your persuasiveness intact.
So what does this all build toward? It leads us to this one absolutely crucial point. Communication is an art that transcends the mere exchange of words. By mastering these 10 tools, from using clear language and varying your pitch, to commanding body language, strategic pauses, hard data, perfect timing, sharp visual aids, real empathy, and on-the-fly adaptability, you transform simple, everyday interactions into highly persuasive, impactful experiences. The true power lies in achieving that alignment and agreement.
I want to leave you all with this final provocative thought. Think about the very last important conversation you had. I really have to ask, were you just speaking or were you connecting? The tools are right here for the taking. I challenge you to consciously apply just one of these strategies in your very next conversation and watch how it completely shifts the dynamic. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.